have this woman named Sarah Gertz, who has a very rare condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This syndrome weakens the body's connective tissue. Sarah is only 30 years old, but this condition makes her appearance not match her age. The disease affects her skin, joints, and blood vessel walls, causing her to have unstable joints, soft, velvety, and highly elastic skin, which bruises easily and alters the wound healing process. We have this man named Tom Staniford, who has a very rare condition that prevents him from gaining weight. Tom was born with a rare genetic mutation called MDP syndrome, which does not allow his body to accumulate even a gram of body fat. He has also developed type 2 diabetes and a hearing problem that has required him to use hearing aids since the age of 10. Additionally, he suffers from connective tissue disorders affecting his feet and hands. Moreover, he has low testosterone levels, reduced flexibility in all extremities, and an almost complete fixation of his ankles. This mutation also affects the POLD1 gene, which normally helps prevent cancer. Despite all these challenges, Tom is a Paralympic cycling athlete. Is Kathy Jung, the woman with the smallest waist in the world. It all started when Kathy's love for Victorian fashion led her to start wearing corsets. At first, her waist measured 71 centimeters, and to shrink it, she wore these garments 24 hours a day for over 22 years. Over time, her waist reached just 38 centimeters, and her husband, who is actually a doctor, made sure the entire process didn't affect Kathy's internal organs. Although her body no longer looks aesthetically pleasing to some due to the extremely tiny waist, Kathy feels perfectly fine and has no trouble breathing. Also, Paul Carrison, known as Papa Smurf, a man who turned blue due to an incurable condition. Paul suffered from several ailments, including dermatitis, which led him to take a mix of silver compounds without professional supervision. He even rubbed the mixture on his skin to keep it from peeling. Paul had fair skin and freckles until around 1993, when this habit caused argyria, silver poisoning, and his skin turned blue. At first, it helped relieve the acid reflux that troubled him and even cured the arthritis in his shoulders, so he drank a glass of the mixture every day for more than 10 years. 11-year-old Mexican girl has an IQ higher than Einstein's. Meet Adhara Perez. At just 11 years old, Adhara Perez Sanchez has an impressive record and an IQ that surpasses that of Einstein, as well as Stephen Hawking, whom she has always admired. Diagnosed with autism at the age of 3, Adhara started speaking late. Her teachers did not have high expectations for her future. However, thanks to her academic progress, she completed elementary school at the age of 5 and high school at 8. At 9 years old, she gave a lecture on black holes at an event organized by the Institute of Art and Culture of Mexico City and published a book in which she shared her experience as a high-functioning autistic child, dedicated to children who suffer from the same condition as her. She has also been recognized by Forbes as one of the 100 most influential women in Mexico. Adhara is pursuing a master's degree in mathematical engineering at the Technological University of Mexico City. She is passionate about the cosmos and the stars. She dreams of joining NASA and participating in the exploration of the planet Mars. She also plans to design a connected bracelet capable of detecting emotions and preventing epileptic seizures. Taylor is a girl from the United States who has elf ears. This unique trait is known as pointed ears, a birth defect that can cause some babies to be born with ear tips that resemble those of elves. Since we know elves from popular culture, there are no associated symptoms, and those affected have normal hearing. According to experts, if treated within the first 8 weeks of life, it can be corrected using molds worn for a few months. However, in Taylor's case, it's quite particular. Her pointed ears weren't genetic, but rather the result of poor healing from a piercing. At first, it wasn't a problem, but when she started going to modeling castings, she didn't feel comfortable with her ears, as they didn't have the refined look of real elf ears. So instead, she chose to undergo surgery to look as much as possible like those fantasy characters and succeed in her modeling auditions. A woman named Rose Guile, who has a condition called hirsutism, which causes excessive and uncontrolled hair growth on various parts of the body, especially the face. In Rose's case, it was linked to polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, which causes hormonal imbalances. At just 13 years old, Rose began shaving her facial hair daily, and she battled this for over 20 years, trying numerous treatments to stop the facial hair growth. But a few years ago, she decided to stop fighting it and let the hair grow naturally, and today she says she's happier than ever. A man named Tran Van Hay, who had hair that measured 6.3 meters, about 20 feet, in length. He was born in 1936 and passed away in 2010 at the age of 74. For 42 years, he let his hair grow continuously, and in 2003, he was officially recognized in his country for holding this record. But the most shocking part wasn't just the length, it was the weight, which was around 10 kilograms, 22 pounds. Due to this, Tran Van had trouble doing everyday tasks, often feeling dizzy and falling. According to his wife, by the time he died, he hadn't washed his hair in 11 years. The man who was considered the tallest person in the world and in all of history, with an astonishing height of 2.72 meters, 8 feet 11 inches. Robert Wadlow became internationally known as the tallest man in history, also called the Alton Giant. He was born on February 18, 1918 in Illinois, United States. His growth was very rapid. By the age of 5, Robert Wadlow had already reached a remarkable height of 1.63 meters, 5 feet 4 inches. By 8 years old, he was taller than his father, standing well over 1.80 meters, 5 feet 11 inches. In the summer of 1936, he graduated from high school, and by then the young man was already a true celebrity, standing taller than 2.45 meters, 8 feet. At 19 years old, he was recognized as the tallest man in the world, measuring 2.54 meters, 8 feet 4 inches. Due to his height, Robert suffered from foot injuries throughout his life, requiring medical treatment several times. On one occasion during a trip, he developed a high fever caused by an infection from a septic blister on his right ankle, which was due to an iron brace he used to support his legs. Despite emergency surgery performed in his hotel room, his condition gradually worsened, and he did not survive the infection. In the early hours of July 15, 1940, he passed away at the age of 22.